to grab these people as soon
There
as
you
you
go.
can.
You're good now.
Welcome, everybody, and I would like to welcome Marina Ross in her new official position as County Clerk. I'm not sure if that's the right title, but we welcome you aboard, and Jessica as well, and also Brian Ostrander, our mayor, is with us today. So nice to see you, Brian. I think we're going to just jump right in. So we'll call this meeting to order. Can we have an approval of the agenda, please? Somebody like to, and seconder? Mary, thank you. Any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? No. Approval of minutes. Is there any discussion about the minutes before we approve them? Nothing?
Okay.
Approval of the minutes from the last meeting then? Ralph? Seconder? Catherine, thank you. Yes, I did want to, I already introduced Marina, our deputy clerk, and it's really wonderful to have you here. And I see in your background, I read up on you that you were actually on a digital archives or an archival committee. So that's nice to have your experience here. So that's will be a big help to us. Are there any delegations?
Sorry, Beth, before you move on to that next item, Marina had some things she wanted to say.
Wonderful. Marina.
So my name is Marina Ross. I'm the new deputy clerk here for the municipality of Brighton. I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. Beth, you're correct. I actually sit on the Clarington Public Library Board, and then I'm also on the committee which is underneath that library board, the Museum and Archives Committee, and I'm the chair of that committee.
Excellent.
I have received education. I have my master's in library and information science and archives and records management. So I do have some experience in those fields. So I'm glad to be here with you guys today. I did want to bring forward sort of a proposal that I know that the previous deputy clerk had brought forward to the committee. And I have obviously pertinent experience in sort of an archival grouping underneath the library board, because I know that Tom had brought that forward to you before. And I just wanted to kind of get an idea of how you felt about that proposal. When I look at it, I see obviously increased collaboration that could be done with the library. You could have a space to hold some of your materials. You could collaborate on social media and programming, have a space to interact with the public. And also having financial and grant assistance, them having more staff that can assist. So I really just wanted to see what maybe your concerns or questions would be. And there's actually a library board meeting tomorrow that if you are interested, I could speak to them on behalf of your committee.
Well, I need clarification on this because I don't remember this proposal at all or discussion of it at all. Now, is this looking to change our position from committee of council to a, I forget what they call it, like a standalone entity, a separate entity? Is this what you're referring to, Marina?
I believe it was sort of a similar proposal, but for this one, you would still gain all the support of the municipality. You would still keep your grant or your money from the municipality as but possibly a line item on the library's budget so that you could still spend it. And they would be there to support you a little closer than we might be able to here in the clerk's department because they have dedicated staff. And really library and information and all of these types of topics really work really well together.
I agree with you, but can anybody else speak to this? Is this before my time?
No, this is the first time I've heard of it.
This is new information for our committee. Jessica. Oh.
Sorry, I think where the confusion is Tom's proposal was that you become more of a standalone committee Marina's is different and more along the lines of you following. So it's the same. She's heard about Tom's
Concept.
proposal. This is her concept and her idea based on her previous experience and knowledge.
That's fine.
So I
would,
think that might be the confusion.
I would personally,
Already proposed.
yeah, no, I would personally be willing to consider this, and, you know, we can discuss it with the committee, but I think I would like to see something in writing. I have the document Tom sent me for the, oh, it's not standalone. What is it?
It's a service agreement, I think, isn't it?
No,
Brian?
but what do they call this? We're a separate entity. I keep forgetting that word. I have the document that Tom gave us that the council or the clerk's office developed as a separate entity. And we have recently been talking about that. The idea of the public library is new to me. I mean, I did ask that question when I first came on board, because I agree with you, Marina. I think it's a good it's a good fit. So can you then send me something, or send the committee something outlining your proposal and how this fits in with the separate entity proposal that we already have in place? Yeah, it would be very interesting to see that.
Great.
Ralph.
The thing that we had talked about before was becoming a not-for-profit incorporated entity, which is the thing that we had long discussions about and decided against in the end, because we preferred the benefits of remaining a committee of council. But we've also talked a lot. We have a relationship with the library, and I would be happy to explore a newer, closer relationship with the library. But I think it needs some serious
Absolutely.
discussion.
Yeah. So if you can send us that information, then we can discuss it, or I can look at it and at least see what, you know, whether that fits us. I agree. I think the library is a perfect spot, but nobody has ever suggested it before. So thank you, Marina. Anything else?
Yeah, Beth? Brian, what's the feeling of council on this? We're kind of, it kind of came out of left field, the library idea, although we work so well with the library. But does council want us to not be a committee of council, or what's the prevailing feeling?
Library proposal is the first time hearing of it, Catherine. So I think it's a good idea for your group to flesh it out, see how you feel. And if you'd like, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to get you and the chair of the library board and the CEO and Marina together, all of us in the same room, and Councillor Tadman, of course, and maybe just have that conversation from a more global perspective. But Frank, this is, like I said, this is the first time I'm hearing of it as well. So, you know, it's not something we've discussed. This isn't something we've discussed at the council.
Okay. First, I would like to receive something in writing so I can review it and see exactly what you're proposing. So then we can digest it and I can discuss it with the committee. And, you know, I mean, it has come up before, but, you know, it's, there are issues with it, but we don't need to go into that now. Are there any other questions for Marina on this, Ralph?
No, it was Mary's got her finger up.
Yeah.
Pardon? Oh, Mary. Mary.
Yeah. This is such a unique group that works so well on their own that I'm worried that my problem with this is that what happens once it's united with something else. And I am on the library board and I see the benefits, but I also see the benefits of this group having their own way of doing things, because they're all professionals in what they do. So I think we need to take that into consideration. And I don't know, so far it's worked so well the way it's working that, you know, sometimes you just leave things alone.
But we'll take a look at it, certainly. So
Yeah.
if you want to send that to me or to the committee, Marina, that would be appreciated. All right, anything else? All right. Any delegations? Any correspondence?
We have correspondence.
Excellent.
Just this nice little letter from the Prime Minister's office.
Woo-hoo.
I know, we're hitting the big time now.
And why is he writing us, Catherine?
Well, he likes us, you know, we're close and he's not that busy these days. We sent a calendar to the MP, MPP, the Premier, and the Prime Minister. And so far, this is the only letter we've received back, but I'm sure they're all just waiting to send it to. Anyway, he says, thank you for your kind gesture, for taking time to write to the Prime Minister. You may be assured that your thoughtfulness was very much appreciated. We're very interested in the history of Brighton. So that's nice. It wasn't signed by him, but I know he was, I feel he was there.
He wrote it himself, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Anyway,
And he's got the
nice.
calendar hanging up in his office.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
That was
Any
nice.
other
That was a nice move.
correspondence?
No.
Any others? Okay. So let's go into the reports, the video production report. Joe, Hyacinth, and Ralph, I guess. Ralph?
We're
Joe?
in limbo right now because of COVID, but we have project, and Jonathan and Hyacinth can talk about that.
We have 3 videos coming up to shoot. I'd like to talk to Ralph on the side about a couple of ideas I have for the one, and the other person we still have to interview, the other person we have interviewed, and his wife may have COVID, so I don't know how far that's going to put us. The other one has some research that we still have to do, but it's all looking good.
Good. Any
We
questions?
have nothing in progress right now in terms of editing. Everything is out there. We've 63 videos on our YouTube channel. And we're waiting.
And we're waiting. Right. Okay. Any
Yes, for a
questions?
moment. Yeah, Ralph, you gave us some hours, some stats after Christmas, after we did that run of
Yeah,
the video a day.
The only number that's stuck in my head is that since the time we started publishing on YouTube, we've had 17,000 views.
And I think there was 1,100 hours of viewing.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Any questions on the video production report? Collections report. Catherine?
We just when we thought we could see light at the end of the tunnel of the Bangay Memory Junction intake, we've scanned 1,100 individual images from that. Plus, I can't remember how many you shot, Ralph, on the first day we were there, probably 200. And we've just received another box. So that will probably top out at about 1,300 images from that single collection. And there's lots more in the private collection that we haven't accessed yet. So that's going well. It's phenomenal stuff in there, phenomenal images and records. It's kind of interest to the public, which I'll get into when we get to social media. But absolutely, that's our big collection right now. Another one we have is from Shawnee Spencer. She's collected every obituary in Brighton newspaper since 1980.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, well, that's in the newspaper, but I got looking through them. There's a lot of genealogical information, obviously, and it tells a tale of a town. So haven't touched it yet, but she left it with me while she's in Florida. So thank you, Shawnee, if you're watching. Big project ahead.
Ralph?
Another thing that we haven't talked about is the duck chute.
The duck chute.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We have, what was it, 22 shots. We took our lighting.
Hang
kit.
on, Ralph, just remember that the person who we shot doesn't want their name released on this one.
Oh, okay. We have a collection of ducks.
Duck decoys.
Oh, okay. Thank
No
you, that's
bylaws
helpful.
necessary here.
That is helpful. I was a little bit concerned what you were doing in your spare time if you were going out and literally shooting ducks. Not allowed in Presqu'île, 200 meters from the shore, right, Mayor Ostrander?
And can we say something about the 8mm film collection that we've received?
Absolutely.
We're currently hunting for a way to preview a set of, I think, 13 8mm films that we've received. That'll be like from the 60s. And we have no way of looking at it. We've tried and failed with one projector, and we're looking at, we've made a posting on Facebook, and we've gotten lots of offers for people who have or can help us, and we're exploring that.
Do you have any idea what's on the tapes?
I managed to get a look at one. It was just pictures of race cars. So.
There's one that says Birds of High Park, so maybe there are ducks on that. Maybe it's our new theme.
But it might be Hyde Park, Toronto.
Yeah.
Can you
going
say
back to the ducks-
where they came from?
Yeah.
Can you
Dan.
say where they came from?
The tapes came from Dan Buchanan from the Murray Cope estate. Mrs. Cope contacted Dan, has a lot of family genealogical information. She also has this and just wanted to pass it along so it wasn't lost. Getting back to the ducks for just a second, these ducks are all decoys or decorative carvings that were carved by Brighton carvers, including, believe it or not, a robin and a sandpiper that were decoys. So amazing that they would be shooting birds that big, but I guess they had to eat. So anyway, it's a wonderful collection of locally carved decoys, and Ralph did an amazing job on the shoot.
There is never any dearth of things to record and photograph and save for the future, is there? Anything else on the collections report or questions?
Catherine has sent Joe and I some letters from the late 1800s, and Joe and I are in the process of transcribing them so that they can actually be read. And they are very
Fantastic.
interesting. One of them is about the marriage of one of Proctor's daughters. So it's quite enlightening to see what they were like in those days.
There are other letters in there from 1850s or deeds from 1850, and Hyacinth, thanks for bringing that up. Before Christmas, Abigail Miller stopped by. She was in the neighborhood picking something up, and I showed her part of the collection. I've spoken with the donor and with Abigail, and it looks like a lot of this, the older letters, the older documents, the letters to the Proctor family, letters from World War II that went through censors to people in Brighton. So they will eventually, I think, end up at Northumberland County Archives and Museum. And they're old and they're fragile and they'll be saved.
That's really, really good work, Hyacinth and Joe. That's, time consuming and tedious, but really important. We've all seen those letters and nobody can really read them. So anything else on the collections report? Just say that as we get into the metadata report, there is always a lot of material. And I don't know whether Ralph or Catherine, you have a sense of how much it's grown since you first started. I know that there was an initial few hundred pictures or something that you tackled, and now how many images do we have in the, well, it's not in the Vita database yet, but it's getting there. How many do we have?
Well, we've got over 20,000 images, but there's a lot of duplication in them. And I think if we look at them, we've taken a closer look. We think we have about 8,000 images now. About, Catherine, was it 1,600 that are in the Vita collection already?
Yes.
We're-
1,700, I think. Yeah,
1,700?
around 1,700.
Yeah, and we're working through those things. We're tagging them. We're going to find out in the end, once we've gone through the process we are going through, exactly what it is that we have. It's always hard to know what we have because there's so much of it, and because every time we want something, we have to look through the whole darn thing.
Well, that leads right into the metadata report. And well, the metadata is what is in the database record. I think everybody knows that anyways, but for Marina, we currently contract with Vita, which is the knowledge network database. A lot of libraries use it, and it's not particularly fancy, but it's very functional and allows people to search. And we currently have 1,000 images on Vita that are live.
Oh,
I will be
live?
corrected. Yeah, that are
I'm not
live.
sure how many, I'm not sure how many are actually live.
That's about right. We have the 456 from Latimer. We have how many barns? 280 barns probably.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have the heritage homes. And then we have random like transportation, the opening of the 401 from Port Hope to Brighton. So I would say about 1,000 live public. Yeah.
If you, I mean, our next step is to create the records for the rest of the thousands of images that are in our collection. Now, this has been something we've been working on as a group now for about 8 months. We did put forward a strategic plan to the council that included this as a major activity for us, which is filling in the records. But it is extremely time consuming, and Catherine and Ralph have done a lot of it already. And I've just done 60 records. And there's a lot of description. A lot of it I don't know. A lot of I'm guessing. I'm sure if we had a group of Brightonians here, they would be able to say, oh yeah, that was there and it was this year. But we are going through a process and we're adding people, but it has definitely been a challenge. The amount of work that Ralph and Catherine have had to do just so that I can fill in the descriptions. Hyacinth is going to join us when she's up and operating on her new computer. And we did try and bring in volunteers. There was an excellent volunteer from Coburg who was doing stuff for the archives, but I really just feel we weren't ready. You have to be able to teach somebody this quite easily. And so, but I'm very pleased that we now have a process that is 80%. I would say every time you go into a record, you find something new. And I'm sure, Mary, if you looked at some of these records, you'd say, well, that's not that, that's that. But at some point, you have to just move ahead. In the records themselves, we can ask mystery questions. So that's what we often do. I will often say, do you know these people? Do you know where this was taken? So people can respond to that on the database. So we are making progress, and I think this year will be significant in what we can accomplish with filling that database. Any questions? It's really interesting stuff, I learned a lot already, I must say, about Brighton by doing this. So it's been interesting.
One thing that we found is the researchers, the historians, the authors who have compiled a huge body of work for Brighton helps bring every one of these images to life. Right now, we're relying heavily on Susan Brose's History of Brighton Businesses and Florence Chatton's Brighton Township. There are so many other, and of course, Dan Buchanan, who is so helpful with everything. But it's, really, when we put something up there, it's every historian who's ever done anything in Brighton, and it's their work too. Dan was phenomenally helpful with the genealogy of the Latimer collection and Susan's book, as I said. And it's just, the challenge is, even when we get a picture that we know what it is, like downtown Brighton in 1905, then you head to Susan's book and find out all the stores. I mean, the depth of information we could put on there is staggering. So part of it is starting, and part of it is knowing when to stop. And we're running into that now. But kudos to all of them for making that information available to us.
And the goal is that as we get more skilled at it ourselves, that we will bring on other volunteers. So you know, but this is a record for the world. That's what I've said right from the beginning. And Catherine, we did have a couple, didn't we? Somebody from Turkey commented, people from the States, you know, all roads
Somebody
lead to
from
Brighton.
Pakistan, there's like a family in Pakistan is following us. There's a family in Shanghai following us. So it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's important stuff. Any questions about the metadata project? Nope. All right, Catherine, social media and publicity.
Sorry,
report.
Mary had a question.
Oh, sorry,
Not a
Mary.
question.
Yes.
Just, I know that you've relied a lot on Susan Bros, and she has a lot of history, especially about business and some families. The other person that did a lot of work at one time, and I don't know if she's ever been approached, is Bonnie Tabb.
I don't
And
know
I know
her.
that she did a lot of work with Basil McMaster, who is no longer living. She had a lot of history, and I don't know if anybody's approached her to I don't know if she's still got all those files, but there certainly was a lot of work done at one time. And
That's
they did
the lady I was telling you about, Bonnie Brown. She's done books with Susan Bros as well, pamphlets.
Yeah, I shouldn't call
Oh,
her.
okay.
Yeah, it's Bonnie Brown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another
Okay.
resource we haven't tapped, and again, somebody who has a huge body of work on Brighton.
Yeah, they did a lot of the walking tours out of Proctor too, Bonnie and Basil.
I just want to clarify with the metadata, what we're trying to get to is the point where we fill in the records enough that we can make them live on the database. Right now, they're not live, only we can see them, the people that are working on the records. So, you know, and even once they're live, if people come in with information, you can change it. But at least if it's live, people can see it and comment on it. Anything else on the metadata? I see that, who's that Facebook guy? He stole our name. He stole metadata and created a big company. Anyways, Catherine, social media and publicity.
We have Caroline Birch at Municipality. Way to go, Mr. Mayor, for bringing her on. Decided to take a month off, so we suspended the Trivia Tuesday for a month. We did the and we have new plans for February we're going to launch that will take us probably 4 or 5 months with one theme. Carolyn's idea, she has some other great ideas on that. What we did for the month of December is we had an Advent video series. So from the 1st to the 24th, we put one of our either Brighton I Remember or the Dan Buchanan or the Memory Junction videos. And then on the last day, Ralph put together a promotional video that he tweaked one we used when we gave a presentation to the Lions Club. So it was 24 days. It was a film festival, 24 days. That's where we got the 1,100 hours of viewing. Well, certainly added what we had. Really, really popular, and tons of comments on that. Another thing we've done is the Trivia Tuesday. It's ongoing. Great engagement on that. Mary, I don't know if you saw one. I posted on the 5th of January, I think, the fish shipment by Grant Quick to Chicago and to New York City.
Great.
And it was just kind of an off the cuff thing. And it's always amazing how a little thing can bring so many people together and get so much information. Another one I did was Florence Chatton's book, the cover of it, and the little colloquialisms for the communities, the corners or whatever, like Dusty Bend and Vinegar Hill and Poverty Hill. So we have phenomenal engagement on our social media. We have, I think, I didn't look, but I think there's 1,100 people following us. Ralph, when we found the 8mm tapes, put a thing out on Facebook asking if anybody had one. Had somebody who's sort of professional in this, works with them all the time, from a neighboring historical society, say he'd love to help. People in Florida saying, it's at my house, I'll get it for you if you want, to have somebody go in. I just can't understate how engaged people are and how this is such a great platform for Brighton, not just Brighton's history, but for Brighton. people are united, like, oh, I went to school with you, or do you remember me from grade 3, or your mom used to bring me cookies, or it goes a little bit beyond Brighton's history and into the personal history. And we haven't even, like, it's not even the tip of the iceberg yet. So social media, really popular. We now have an Instagram account as well. I don't want to have a Twitter account. I hope that's not something that we do in the future. 2 is enough, but very popular, lots of engagement, and a great crowd of people following us and helping us.
It's good. It's good to see it. And there's lots more we can do with it, including asking for some information on these images that we're creating metadata for, because I'm sure there are people out there that know everything about them. So any questions for Catherine? Okay. Ralph, equipment update.
I've put in, I've submitted, and you've seen it on the document that came for this meeting. I need a new hard drive. I have 2 hard drives that belong to the BDA that are backups of materials that I have on a personal hard drive. So I have all of BDA's information in 3 different places. But one of those hard drives started failing about half a year ago. I finally decided to just reformat the drive and just copy it over from my other backup. It failed miserably. I tried everything I could to fix it. I tried running it from different computers. I have given up on it. I can't do anything with it any longer, but I'd like to have a replacement for it. It was a 6 terabyte hard drive. I'd like to move up to an 8 terabyte hard drive, which matches my other BDA data drive. And pricing is what's in the, I sent a document this afternoon or this morning, updating the prices. They've all changed, but the Amazon.com pricing. So I'd like to propose that we buy this and make that a motion.
Okay, seconder? Catherine? All in favor? So moved.
So I guess my question then is, what's the next step? Will it get ordered based on this motion, or is there anything I need to do?
Jessica?
So part of the motion, maybe we can go back a little bit and have it worded that and choose where you want it ordered from. Obviously, I would think that you were going to go with the cheapest, given that it's the same. But yeah, if you could just reword the motion to include where it will be ordered from, that it will be ordered and it will be purchased, but where. And if it's Amazon, I believe Tom had an account for you guys that we can make that happen.
Along with my proposal, then I would say that we go with the Amazon because it's by far the cheaper, and order it from there.
Is there any further action required on our part? Or will that go now to being ordered by the council, or Marina, I guess, would do?
Yeah, our department will take care of it because
Okay.
Tom made sure to leave me the Amazon login for you guys.
Okay,
So I'll double check with Candace because I'm not management, but we have already discussed doing this anyways, based on what you guys sent me to put on the agenda.
Okay.
all right.
Okay, so the motion will change to read that the committee approved the purchase of the WD 8 terabyte drive from Amazon with the money under the computer supplies line of the budget. And then Ralph, as long as you're good with that change as the mover, and Catherine as the seconder. Yep, okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
I have under general updates. Does anybody want to have anything to add to this? I have 2 items. First of all, I want to mention that Abigail Miller, who is the Northumberland County Archivist, has agreed to be a special advisor to the Brighton Digital Archives. She is a resident of Brighton, but she has a lot of skills in this area, and we're actually working on many of the same issues. So we felt that this would be a good opportunity to take advantage of her experience and skills as we figure out what our next steps are. She won't be attending the council meetings, but if there's anything to report, we'll bring you up to date in the minutes. The other update is that we are once again going to apply for funding for equipment from the Brian Todd Memorial Community Fund. So we don't have a list of equipment yet. We're working on that, and we will go ahead and apply to them. They were very generous to us last year. And, Ralph has long been the sole funder of the equipment for BDA. So it's nice to be able to get some help to do that. So we'll see how successful we are with that application. Is there anything else?
Yeah, Beth?
Yes.
Just want to update, we're working with the Chamber of Commerce on their self-guided tour for Brighton.
Right.
Supplying photos and extra information for the verbiage on that. And that should wrap up within the next couple of weeks. So Ralph and I have been busy sorting through photos and thinking that we knew where they were and finding folders and finding they're not, and which goes back to the metadata project. But anyway, working with the chamber on that. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing for visitors to the town and for locals as well.
And thank you both, because I know that you did send 140 pictures to them last year, and then things changed, and then you were asked again to go through and identify images and supply them. So thank you for that extra work. But I agree, I think it will be an interesting addition to the tourism of Brighton. Mayor Ostrander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not an update, of course, just a thank you to you all for everything you're doing from an historic archival perspective, but also from a getting the word out perspective. You do a really great job for this community, and whether you're a committee of council or a subcommittee of the library or your own entity, you're going to have my support, and I know Councillor Tadman and I will ensure that you have the municipality support moving forward. Carry on. Good work, everybody.
Thank you. That is appreciated. It is really a tremendous amount of work, but we do have a good time doing it. Well, sometimes, but it is. And I personally feel this is an extremely important thing just for the history of Brighton, but I think it also, there's an underlying undefined as of yet economic opportunity with doing this. So thank you. It's appreciated, your acknowledgement. Okay, Marina, any questions? Your first BDA meeting.
Yeah, it was great. I just wanted to offer, if anybody has any questions about me or my experience on in anything, past positions or my experience on the boards and committees that I'm on, feel free to reach out. I'm here every day.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Anything else? So we, next date. Mary.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I know that you did all the postcards and that was very successful with the calendars from Bud Gertan's collection. Did he ever show you all the ducks, since you were talking about ducks earlier, that he has?
He's talked about them with us in the past.
But you haven't seen the ones? I don't know if he's, because I know he was trying to get, sell off some stuff, but he had an enormous collection of duck decoys.
Yeah, he said he had something like 150 different decoys.
Yeah, and
but
all really, yeah.
They were behind his fur. I don't know. They're somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Or he sold a lot as well. I think he sold a lot.
Yeah, but he has a lot of history on the particular carvers that were residents of this area, and there's a lot of history in that in itself. And I know there's always been this challenge about who hunts where and everything, but it was a very active part of this community for years, duck hunting, and I don't know whether you would consider even looking at his ducks, but definitely there's a lot of interest. I have a couple that my father cherished, and so I have them now, and he researched them and he found out who that particular carver was too. But he was telling me, and I have no memory of all the different carvers that he has, but he has a lot of them. So I
So
don't know, it's just a
interesting.
thought.
Mhm. I think it's very interesting. And yes, hunting was a very important part of this community until the community started to encroach on the hunting. But something to think about, you know, focusing on that. Certainly the decoys for sure. So
Yeah.
so
The other
there's-
thing I was just thinking as I look out here now at the ice, all the ice fishermen, and that was very much a part of the commercial fishing for years and years, that they
Mhm.
fished through the ice. But now it's a sport thing. But last Saturday, I counted 29 different huts out there, and I drove along Bay Street, and I couldn't believe, talk about the number of people in that interest. But I don't know if there would be anything that you would like to photograph with that. But it's quite a little community out there, and it's kind of fun to watch all them come in and out. And
I don't think we have any pictures of ice fishing in Brighton specific images. But if we find, or if you know of anybody that has pictures that we
I
could,
have some, they're very small, but I know with the way you work with things, Ralph, that you could probably, make them quite clear.
absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, like the sleighs they use to go out to get, because there's no such thing as four-wheelers or
Mhm.
skidoos and whatever. So these sleighs that they would push out, I have some pictures of those.
That sounds really interesting, Mary. We'd love to see those. And any duck collectors or decoy collectors you have in mind, please point them in our direction.
Mhm.
Okay, so I guess we can declare this meeting as adjourned. The date of the next meeting, Jessica.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, don't forget to book your next meeting.
And when is the next meeting? It's not the 28th, is it? It's the week
No,
before? The
Based on your
21st?
schedule, it's the 22nd.
Oh, the 22nd because of Family Day. So it's February the 22nd. Well, we'll be almost through the winter then, so.
Good.
All right, everybody, thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor Ostrander, for joining us, and nice to meet you, Marina. I'm sure we'll enjoy working with you, once you can get out and see what we're doing, and it can be a lot of fun. So